Welcome back to Learning Martech. With me today is Gavin Attard from 120 Feet.
Hey, how you doing?
And we will talk about data fundamentals, aren't we, Gavin?
Yes, we're going to be talking about data fundamentals from MarTech today. Exciting stuff.
So, Gavin, when we talk about MarTech and MarTech stacks, we often tend to talk about the magnitude of tools out there. What do we mean by data fundamentals, and where does that fit the picture when it comes to MarTech?
Cool. So I think we're having a conversation about this not too long ago, you and I. And I think what it came out of, and I think a good starting point for this conversation is always that picture you find that's going all over LinkedIn or whatever it is, where every single MarTech technology is stacked up into one picture, and you get that over the years. And over the years, you just see this mass of new companies and new technologies come into the MarTech space to the point where you look at it and you just go, and it's huge. And within MarTech, there's always a lot of focus on the technology, right? There's always the new tool, the new fancy feature, and the things that we want to do. And I think very often it's very easy to get lost in all of that because it's really exciting.
Yeah, but like 8,000 tools, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. We do that to ourselves because we're always chasing that feature. But one of the things about it is that virtually every single one of these, except for a couple which are pure enablers, are all driven by data, by the data that we have about our customers, by the data that our customers or the signals that our customers provide us along the journey. And a lot of the time, what I tend to see is that we'll be gung-ho about the features, about the latest stack or the latest tool we're putting into the stack, and we miss out some of the really important basic foundation to this, which is the data that's driving all that. So you get the companies that are installing the tech, and then they come to going, well, where's the data to drive this? And suddenly everybody is just silence in the room, or we're not quite sure where that's coming, or it isn't clean, or we can't connect it. And we start getting all sorts of spaghettis and people and things. And something that should have been quite easier was sold to us as quite easy by the tool. Suddenly becomes quite taxing, and the projects either take really long, or they fall down, or they're not quite implemented well. And then we start getting trust issues in the tool, and markups can't really execute. So what we then get is people blaming the tool, and we go the cycle where then we're going to change the tool, we're going to get the next one in, which is going to solve all of that because this supposedly does it better and has a better UI or does it more automatically, and we just go through the same thing because the data hasn't been set up. So part of what I do and how I help enterprises is to help them build those data fundamentals to drive and enable them to use their stack to its maximum effectiveness, basically. And I thought it would make a great topic for us to talk about today.
So, Gavin, how do you see these data fundamentals? Could you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, so in my view, a MarTech strategy without a data strategy is pretty much dead on arrival. Now, what do we mean by data strategy for MarTech? You want to think about three things. The first is thinking about data architecture, and that might sometimes sound quite scary if you're in MarTech or markups because it's going into areas and realms which you don't normally live in. It doesn't actually have to get too complex. It's about understanding a number of things about your customer's journey, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a sec. So you've got data architecture. The second and then is data orchestration. So once you have an understanding of where your data is and how you want to use it, how you're going to get that around, and then finally it's insight capability. Are you able to draw analysis and insight, which can then drive more activity and more actions to create an awesome experience for your customers? Because at the end of the day, everything we have in markups, all the technology that we have in our stack is there to drive a great experience for the customer. And as soon as you can start doing that in a joined up fashion, then your customers are going to love it. They're going to love your product and everything else that follows from that.
So that sounds like a really good way to do proper MarTech, Gavin.
Yeah, I think modern program marketing, it sets the foundation for two things. One, it sets the foundation for how you're going to drive the technology. Part of the process, and I think it's important to understand that this is a process, a part of the process also enables the organization to start breaking down, we always talk about this a lot, breaking down those silos and talking to each other and understanding how we all fit into the bigger picture around the customer. So the fundamentals are there to help you, implement the MarTech stack that you're going to be able to use properly and be able to drive that activity. But it also is going to create new processes and a new way of working within your MarTech teams across the entire MarTech stack. And I think that's the beauty of this. It's not just about doing things properly. It's about actually creating the processes and the culture that's going to allow you to drive your operations forward.